clicked the button. Hello, we are back with Call of Cthulhu on Monday nights at the Wretched West campaign here on Uncanny Adventures. And I've got some Sirenscape going in the background with some nice peaceful music for the events that are happening because it's calming and, wonderful. So if you're in chat and you hear the music, let me know if it's too loud. So if you want to help our dear investigators here, or hinder them, or help me, or I guess hinder me too, you can donate, and the rules for donating are below the video in the Twitch notes there. And we also have a special guest tonight. So we have Katie here with us, who is bringing her wonderful character. Katie was gonna play early on, but has had other things because she's a very popular streamer. And everybody wants her, but we finally got her for a guest spot. So we'll go around and let everybody say hello and just, quickly reintroduce their characters. And then we'll get into it. So because she's our guest, we'll let Katie tell us who she's bringing to the table tonight.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Katie. I am playing Minnie Devereaux, who is our sweet Deputy Hudson's wife. Back when Jeanette was planning this game before I had some things come up, me and Jamie built these characters together. We wanted to play the most annoying couple ever, and I didn't get to play, which broke my heart, but I finally have found a session that I can finally come in and play in. Minnie has been busy in the background, don't you worry. I have talked to Jeanette, so she has been taking care of her own things in the background, but I'm very excited to be playing.
Very nice. We're happy to have you. And on that note, why don't we have Jamie talk about his character?
I'm Jamie. I'll be playing Hudson Devereaux, the deputy sheriff and husband to Minnie, whose current strategy with these bug people is running, and I apologize in advance for the bullshit that Katie and I are about to get on with each other.
It's been built up over so long.
Yeah, there's foreshadowing, like, very thick
every
this whole game.
Y'all have, I'm being texted by Jamie, and I'm just like, don't die, Minnie will resurrect you and kill you.
I mean, that's
Screaming
fair.
the whole time.
How about Brooke?
Hi, you can find me on the internet at Theater Nerd 221, just about all the places. I'm playing our darling Delilah Darling, our saloon girl turned badass Rambo ? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. All I know is she's a badass because she ran away from an explosion without looking over her shoulder. But I'm excited to be playing today. I'm ready to get into it. I know we got one more introduction, but I'm ready.
And how about Celts?
I am the Celts, so I'll be playing Lucas, the rootin', tootin', gunslinging, rope slinging, bug riding. Well, I'm probably not going to ride the bug, but yeah. Bug lassoing gunslinger today, so we'll see what's going to go on with that.
Yeehaw, ride 'em cowboy.
Yeehaw. Exactly.
Sounds good. And as always, hi, I'm Jeanette. I'm playing Keeper for this adventure and trying to, catch all the, story arcs and things that are flying up in the air and, see how everything pans out with all the explosions and all the gunfire and all that stuff. But, oh, hey, thanks, Katie. So, last time we played, you all had ridden out. You had made some friends with the local Sasquatch tribe, apparently. At least a tenuous friendship had been created. And the larger member, who apparently looks like one of the leaders, and two others had led you across to Humboldt Mountain, where they led you up into the mountains a little ways and showed you this little valley where there was, in fact, a mine entrance. And flying out of the mine entrance, apparently carting out various precious gems, or you're not even sure what else, were these Migo bug people that you have been sort of encountering. You all spent the night and then proceeded back up the mountain and initiated blowing up the entrance to the mine in hopes of burying the Migo inside. Apparently, it didn't completely close the mine entrance, as these creatures had flown out into the skies overhead. And
lasers, Jeanette.
And apparently, yes, they did have a laser. At least one laser gun was present, as Jeremiah sadly found out when he took a full blast of electricity to the chest, and is struggling with that issue as we speak, as he stumbles through the trees, having fired off his gun to draw the attention of one of these creatures to try to help the rest of you. Meanwhile, Hudson is running up and away in the other direction along the ledge of this valley, and Delilah and Lucas Lucas has lassoed one of these creatures and pulled it from the air to the ground. And both he and Delilah, when we left off, were leaping toward the creature with their knives out, intent on stabbing this giant bug and hoping to put it down. So, meanwhile, Minnie, you spent some time in town. Hudson has been busy the last month or two since the sheriff's elections had gone off, and he was promoted to deputy. Best one for the job. But
promoted, conscripted.
Hey, you're tall and can shoot a gun. You got the job.
Voluntold.
That's also why I married him.
It's true. And he's been fairly busy, as Pawheton was mostly a lawless mining town until this time, and the elected marshal is somewhat lackadaisy about his job. But in the last few days or so, Hudson has been away a bit more, and when he's come back, he was a bit harried over something going on. And he left this morning and kind of gave you a warning. What was that warning Hudson gave to you?
To not leave town, to stay indoors and be safe.
And after Hudson left, what did you do?
The opposite.
After Hudson left, Minnie went straight outside to try and figure out what the hell is going on in her town. So Minnie is, I wouldn't call her a socialite kind of thing, but she's that type of, she's that stay-at-home wife, goes to the beauty salon, that kind of, person. She is out listening and, talking and doing what she does best to try to figure out what's going on, and 100% ignoring the warning that Hudson gave her.
Yes, indeed. In fact, as she was going about and sort of moving through the center of town during the course of the morning, she did notice kind of a pickup in activity, particularly with Jack Stratton's crew. It seemed like they were collecting people who were trying to leave town. There were various offers of free drinks at the Pawheton Original. Other freebies were being offered in order to entice them to stay, and even to the point where she saw some people just being manhandled to just not leave. And at one point, strolling through town, sort of up the street from the Pawheton Original, she came upon Jack in a heated sort of argument/discussion with Walter Pennebaker. And from what she sort of could take from that, she realized that Pennebaker seemed to be upset about some kind of activity Jack might have going on outside of town, and was trying to find out what was going on. And Jack was tight-lipped, wouldn't tell him a thing, and eventually Pennebaker threw his hands up and stormed away, quickly running into you, Minnie. And when he saw you, he walks up to you and he inquires as to what is going on with Hudson, as he's noticed him spending quite a bit of time with Delilah, the young preacher, whom he can't remember the name off the top of his head, and some stranger that's come into town. And Jack won't tell him what's going on.
This is Pennebaker I'm speaking to?
Yes, Walter Pennebaker.
Yeah, Minnie sort of just gives him that classic smile she gives everyone, and reaches out to, like, sort of brush some dust off of his shoulder and just, you know, straighten his shirt. Mr. Pennebaker, I'm not exactly, you know, privy to what my husband does with his days at work, believe it or not.
Well, Miss Devereaux, I'm concerned for your husband. I've noticed him spending some time, mostly at Mr. Stratton's Pawheton Original. I'm hearing some rumblings about possible danger for the young deputy. As we both know, Mr. Stratton wasn't too fond of the idea of them bringing the law into town. And while I think that the marshal may be in Stratton's pocket, I know your husband is a straight shooter and wouldn't take money to influence him in any way. And I think that being the case, he may be in danger.
Well, I can assure one thing, Mr. Pennebaker. My husband can handle himself, let alone anyone else that comes along. I don't think you need to worry
Well,
much about him.
I don't know. I had a conversation with Reverend Duffy earlier today, and he said that he ran into that young preacher boy. And that young man was... the Reverend says he thinks that he said something concerning the young man, but he couldn't get him to divulge it. And I have noticed that he is spending quite a bit of time with your husband and Miss Darling, and I'm not sure who the shorter fellow is that has been riding with them the last few days. Do you by chance know his name?
Would Hudson have told me anything about Lucas?
Hudson?
Probably not.
Yeah, I think even if Minnie knew anything, she would have played it close to the chest anyway, so she just shakes her head. Just, Mr. Pennebaker, now, we might all respect the good Reverend Duffy, but all this preaching about hellfire and end of times and stuff, you know that he might just feel that his space is being threatened by another younger person.
I mean, perhaps, but I have found, even though he is a bit of the fire and brimstone type, that the Reverend seems to be a good man at heart, and he has suggested...
That is a lot of fear-mongering, don't you think?
Well, that is the business that he is in, just like my business is to make money. But, as it is, we're under the impression that perhaps Mr. Devereaux is in danger, that he has been taken out of the city limits to be done away with in a way that no one will ask questions, and as such, we've decided to ride out and go check on things for ourselves.
Well then, seeing that it concerns my dear husband, I hope you won't mind me tagging along.
Ma'am, if you would care to, I will not turn you away, as it does have to do with your husband. I just ask that you are careful to stay out of danger. I don't want to be responsible for anything befalling you.
Well, I appreciate that concern, but I can take care of myself. My husband learned everything he knows from me.
He gives you a wry smile and he says, "Well, I've got some of my boys. They're gonna make sure that Jack and his men are busy on the other side of town. And I've got some horses ready. We're gonna take my Irish wolfhound King, and we're gonna track your friends, your husband and his group, into the hills and see where they've ended up. And Reverend Duffy's going to come along with us, along with a couple of my men, just to make sure that we have extra hands if necessary."
Well, all right. You give me 10 minutes, I'll be ready.
We will bring the horses by and meet you at your home.
I appreciate that, so thank you.
And they do. They come by late a little while after that with the horses. And
yeah, Minnie has changed. Like that morning, she was in a very proper dress. Everything she's put on, probably like one of Hudson's button-ups and suspenders and trousers, and like boots. She's ready to go. This isn't like her first rodeo riding out. Minnie might live a very rich life, but she grew up in Kansas City. Like she knows how to take care of herself.
All right. And so when they show up, it's Mr. Pennebaker with his wolfhound, King, and he has the Reverend Duffy, who tips his hat to you and says, ma'am, and there are 3 other men with him. They're pretty familiar to you. You know that they're kind of his sort of like close circle. There's Henry Corby, who's sort of a tall, lanky fellow. There's Terry Redeye and Warder Haught, who are 2 kind of shorter, stockier men. And you all ride out together. King and Henry Corby are kind of leading the way as you leave Pawheton, following the trail that was left only, maybe a handful of hours now earlier by Hudson and the rest of his group. And you kind of head off into the hills, which you spend most of the day kind of tracking. You kind of head northwest of town. You stop for a rest to water the horses for a bit. And then you kind of come to a small hilly area where there's a lot of trees and things like that. And some sort of areas where there's caves and things. But when Pennebaker's men sort of explore, they don't find anything inside. And the whole time Duffy is kind of discussing with you about, now you know, Miss Devereaux, about the dangers of what's going on in the hills here, thanks to all the sinners in Pawheton, all the debauchery that goes on, and the gambling, and you know what's out here, don't you?
Yeah, the whole time Minnie is just basically nodding and, yep. Please tell me more about it, Pastor. Like, just entertaining him. She does not care. Mm-hmm. She does not believe, like, while there might be something out here, because she does trust her husband, she's not religious whatsoever, so she's just entertaining him.
Yep. So this goes on most of the day, and you actually follow the trail of Hudson and the rest kind of turns and heads a very sharp sort of west into the hills, like across. And Corby kind of points out that there seems to be some odd tracks accompanying Hudson's tracks and the rest of the horses and things like that. They're sort of larger footprints. And this gets Duffy going even more about, he says, they must be in danger. They're going to be absconded with by the devils that live in the hills. It's not men that we must fear, but the devils themselves.
Yeah, Minnie's just like, these devils sound mighty dangerous, Pastor.
But eventually you do have to stop. Pennebaker calls it for the night and suggests that you guys set camp because it's getting late and dark. The gentleman with you sort of set up camp around, and they start a small fire and cook for the evening and things like that. And you kind of all settle in under the stars and kind of go off to sleep without too much activity at that point. And the next morning comes without any sort of drama or anything coming overnight. It's been quiet. Duffy's up first thing, doing morning prayers, cooking. Pennebaker kind of dusts off his hat and puts it on, shakes out his jacket. And Corby quickly picks up the trail. And once you have eaten, you're ready to head back off. And it looks like when you'd gone to bed, the trail had gotten pretty fresh. You'd think that you were pretty close to catching up with Hudson. So, meanwhile, somewhere in the mountains, up in Humboldt Mountain to be exact, all hell hath broken loose, as the good Reverend Duffy would say. Jeremiah is running somewhere in the tree line, having just fired off a shot at one of these flying creatures. Hudson is charging along the hillside one of these creatures flying toward him. It seemed to have grown some type of armor over itself from this like weird, strange, pussy sack that it took out from who knows where, underneath a wing, who knows. And Delilah and Lucas, yes, gross. Delilah and Lucas, you have are leaping at this giant bug. So Lucas, you had lassoed this bug, and you are like, you had pulled it down, and you were leaping with your knife. So do you want to make me an attack roll against this thing?
First roll of the night. First roll of the night.
Most definitely I do, yes. Just melee?
Yes.
There should be melee.
There's, let's see.
Brawl.
It's
brawl.
fighting, brawl.
Fighting brawl.
There it is. Thank you.
All right, so you leap in, and this thing, you've brought it down with the lasso, and you leap in to stab at it, but it sort of rolls away quicker than you expect. And as it does, it sort of lashes out at you. Actually, no. What it's gonna do, because you've got it kind of tied up. It's gonna try to like leap into the air. So let's see. I'm gonna need a strength roll from you as it tries to launch itself straight upward.
I want to step.
Oh,
Use a point of luck.
I'm going to spend luck.
Okay.
To bring that to a success. Yeah.
All right. So it tries to leap upward, and because you still have the rope kind of grasped, it tries to get up and get its wings flapping, and you manage to sort of keep it held down. Surprisingly, like. You think for a second you're going to get airborne, and you just kind of pull down on this, and it goes back to the ground with you. Meanwhile, you hear somewhere crashing through the trees, and you realize Jeremiah is kind of distancing himself away in the opposite direction. You get like one glimpse of him, Hudson, as you see him still kind of stumbling, like he seems like he's very much struggling from whatever blast he took a few seconds ago, and he's having a hard time keeping his feet, but he's still upright at this point as he runs and disappears into the trees, followed by another one of these flying bugs just chases after him into the tree line. The one chasing you comes sort of flying quickly in, and instead of like trying to attack you this time, it just sort of tucks in and flies as fast as it can, and it closes the distance very quickly this time. And as you sort of like look back over your shoulder, it gets within about 10 feet or so and looks like it's easily going to catch up to you where you are. And
cool.
and you guys see that there was a fourth one of these creatures that also sort of dive bombs in the direction Jeremiah went and disappears after him as he had fired off, shooting at the two that were chasing. And so Jeremiah is gone with two pursuers out of sight. Meanwhile, another rock flies out of the air from somewhere up on the rise, somewhere above you, Hudson, as you realize your friends are still trying to help, though they're staying out of sight at the moment. So
I need to get up and start fighting.
Whose turn is it?
All right, so
the Sasquatch. Come on, Sasquatches.
Yeah. So the rock just goes way up and above and away.
Did you guys think to give him some Jack Link's turkey?
No,
We have marshmallows.
we gave them marshmallows.
Yes,
well,
they
that's
did.
your problem.
I know, it's the sugar slowed them down. They're on that downward spiral from the sugar drop. Delilah, so you have watched as Lucas almost gets pulled off his feet into the air, but manages to pull this bug back down to earth. And you were running toward it with your knife coming out of your boot.
She's gonna yell, "Hog tie the wings," and then she's going to attempt to jump on it and stab it.
Excellent. So why don't you roll to stab this creature?
I never remember what color to roll. I suppose it doesn't matter.
All right. So
Pew, pew, pew.
as
Step,
it
step, step.
sees you coming, it tries to sort of roll and dodge away, but it is unable to do so. So let's see. You hit it for damage. So you stab. The one thing you notice though, as your knife kind of like stabs, is it's very like hard to impale it with the knife. You get it to stab, but this thing's skin, its hide, is very thick.
Does it look like the green gooey stuff encompasses the whole body?
This
like
one,
including the head?
this one doesn't look like it's got the gooey green stuff on it.
They've just leveled up. Okay, cool.
All right, so. All right, so meanwhile, so Minnie, you all had gotten up in the morning and were continuing to follow the tracks. You had headed further north and kind of had come upon Muskrat Creek. And were sort of looking up, kind of, you could see the mountains up ahead, and you were kind of at the lower edges of the rise of the mountains. And somewhere in the distance, you were all startled by the sound of gunfire.
Do I recognize that it's one of Hudson's guns?
You can make me a listen check.
Okay, I can do that because I am very good at but I am good at listening.
So you listen, and while you're not 100% sure that it is, you're pretty confident that, based on what you've been told about the tracking and how close you were getting, that's probably Hudson or his compatriots there up in the mountains.
Yeah, Minnie, she slowed for a moment just to listen, and then she's just gonna, well, I think we found them, gentlemen, and without waiting, she's going to pull the reins tight, and she's going to begin to ride out ahead of the group full speed toward where she heard the shots.
All right, so as you start to head in that direction, Pennebaker sort of motions for the rest of them, let's go, gentlemen, and you all kind of kick it off, get the horses running. Just do me a favor, give me a ride check.
I can do that too. And I could fail, but I've rolled a 69.
Nice.
That's very nice.
You do have luck.
I mean, I'm not
That
using
is a
30
ton of
luck on that.
That's pretty on brand with all of us with the ride check fails,
It
though.
is pretty
So
on brand.
Yeah.
You did say you wanted to use every point. I was only suggesting a good way.
I know. I'm gonna wait until I just need it to save one of you.
Oh, I can appreciate that, I guess.
That's what friends are for.
I think the ghost train is coming, so I'm gonna mute myself.
Nice. I love ghost trains. All right. So, you do kind of kick the horses and head up kind of into the hill in the direction of the gunfire. The horses sort of struggle a little bit as there's not really a trail where you have kind of headed in that direction. You're just sort of going for it and trying to make your way up. But Pennebaker and the others follow you, while one of them does sort of kind of stay to the creek bed and sort of follow on the edge, maybe trying to find an easier route up. Let's see how Pennebaker does. Oh yeah, so he actually kind of moves ahead of you and takes the lead a little bit, as he's a little more capable. And in fact, Reverend Duffy sort of gets an even better line on riding up this area and up over the hill, and he kind of gets ahead and puts a little distance between him and the rest of you. But you feel like you're quickly closing the distance as we come around to Hudson. What do you want to do there, Hudson?
Where's the one that had the lasers?
So the one with the laser actually has disappeared after Jeremiah.
Crap, they went on one of those planes. Are there any big-ish rocks I could just throw at this thing? Because I know my gun's gonna be useless. So I kind of want to just try and hit it and run like hell.
I mean, you can roll me a luck check to find a really big rock. There's plenty of rocks, but if you're looking for a really good rock, you scramble and
Perfectly balanced rock.
you go to pick up a really big rock and like you get like this chunk that's maybe baseball sized.
Better than nothing.
I'm still gonna throw it at him. Just for fun.
Go ahead and roll me throw there. What's it called? I always forget.
It is throw.
It's throw.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at these, so I'm gonna miss. Oh, no, I'm not.
That's what you get for dissing your dice.
That's true. So you throw this rock at it. So roll me what is Hudson's damage dice?
Is it the damage bonus?
Yeah, so roll me a d6 plus your damage bonus.
Okay.
All right, so you see the rock, it just sort of clatters off of the shell that encases the one that's chasing you. And you're like...
I'm just going to keep running in the serpentine. Because that's been helping me so far.
So you go from the cliff edge, you kind of tuck back in and keep running.
Like running towards Lucas and Delilah, like, oh God, help me somebody.
All right, so yeah, so you've sort of, we're going kind of along the lip and kind of covering the distance around the little valley. And now you've sort of turned and cut back into the trees, heading back toward them.
A sharp turn back, so like since it's dive bombing, it has to suddenly readjust its course.
I like it. I like it. All right. So, meanwhile, out of the air, behind you, another rock sort of goes sailing toward the creature, kind of dive bombing at you, and again it misses. Apparently, the Sasquatch are not very good throwing rocks.
I think only one of them has hit so far.
I think only one of them has hit so far as well. So Lucas, you and Delilah are on top of this bug now.
All right, so we're like touching, right? Like I'm like holding on to the thing close enough to grab at it.
Yes, you are.
Can I make out where its like head is, or is it kind of just encased in like a shell, like bug shell?
Oh no, you can definitely tell where its head is. It's the head. It's kind of like almost like think of like a giant mosquito body, like big head at the front. The wings kind of go tall up over the back, and then it's kind of goes out to the back end where it's got like a kind of a tail coming out of it, and it's got these big long legs with kind of pincer claws at the ends of each.
So, as I'm holding onto the rope, I'm gonna grab for one of my guns, and it's gonna press it up into the thing and just start firing.
Ooh. All right, so you're rolling at point blank, which I think gives you a bonus die to this.
I'll take it,
All right.
but I don't know how to use it.
So you would roll, I believe it's the white die to get the bonus die.
Yeah, it's the one that looks black.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the one that's on the right-hand side of all the rolls.
It's on the right-hand side?
Yeah, so the great... Oh, sorry, I lied. The left-hand side. I get my left side
Okay.
confused.
All right, so you put this right underneath, and as you fire it
How?
so fast, like you don't even know how it could move that quickly. It's so strange trying to grab onto it. It just, and the bullet kind of shoots past its head. Delilah, like you hear the gun go off like enough that it rings in your ear, and you can feel the movement of the bullet go by at the same
Easy
time.
killer.
Watch your head there, darling.
Well, maybe you should have thought about that before you missed point blank.
You have no room to talk about anything. Blowing up shit all over the place. Just come on, stick this thing again.
And as you say that, it tries to sort of grab hold of Delilah. So, Delilah...
Fuck you, bitch. I mean, yes. What would you like me to roll?
I need you to roll a strength roll, please.
Oh. Okay. Oh, fuck.
I did that wrong.
I don't have 20 luck.
So
I don't think
Wait,
you need it.
yeah, it's all right. So as you as it tries to grab hold of you, like
Good.
it can't get a good enough grip on you where you are with Lucas kind of holding it from the other side. So as you don't manage to force its grip off as much as you kind of slip sideways out of the grip a little ways.
Then it's my turn, right?
Almost. First of all, so Hudson, you sort of turned and ran the opposite direction from this thing. So it's
Did a hard right angle.
You did. So it's going to make a dexterity roll to see if it can make this hard right and follow you.
No.
It crashes into the wall, like the big rock wall behind where you just kind of cut and turn, and it sort of slams full speed into it.
Is it like when a butterfly hits a windshield and it just splatters?
It does kind of hit, and it sort of like falls back onto the ground, and it's sort of struggling to right itself and get back up. And it seems, from your perspective, dazed by the impact, like. And then you just keep running as.
I'm just running. I ain't gonna mess with this guy.
Delilah.
So you can tell me if I have to take a penalty die to do this, but I want to aim specifically for its wings so it can't fly off.
Ooh. Yes, I will.
Like I'm gonna just try to pierce through them.
I will say go with a penalty die to try to stab through the wing.
Fuck. I had a hard success. If I wouldn't have decided to be fancy.
That's all right. But you stab for the wing, and it tucks the wings in against its sides to try to protect it. And your knife kind of goes along the body again, just not stabbing in, like grating along the edges of the body. And it's at this moment that you hear the sound of horse hooves galloping in this direction. And you look, both of you, Lucas and Delilah, look kind of over your shoulders, kind of in the direction where you had come up. And you see a dark brown horse sort of coming over the edge. On the back of it is the Reverend Duffy from Pawheton.
Fuck.
Riding at full speed in your direction. As he sees you both sort of like tangled up with this thing, he sort of pulls the horse up, and the horse kind of like rears a bit in terror and surprise. And it's all he can do not to sort of get thrown. In fact...
Make him roll.
I'm rolling. Yeah, it's all... He does manage to stay in the saddle. As at the same time, you hear more hoofs and horses as both you see Walter Pennebaker kind of crest the hill to one side, and then riding up behind him on the other side, you see Minnie Devereaux ride into sight. And as they ride into sight, they see the two of you kind of tangled up. Minnie, you see coming down the slope running full speed Hudson just charging down the hill in this direction. But you also see this strange creature that is all tangled up with both Lucas and Delilah. So I need you to roll me a sanity check, as you've never seen anything like this before.
I'll do that.
Ooh, girl, dang girl, you Barden.
So you sort of take this all in and take it in stride.
Honestly, I'm more ashamed of my husband turning tail and running away than anything that's happened. I'm just, my head's down. I'm just shaking my head.
I'm running towards you right now. I'm not running away.
I know, and you can fully see me with my head down. Just, oh God. Jeanette.
Yes.
Don't feel bad.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, could I take this chance to because I imagine Minnie's pulled the horse just to slow down and try to take a shot at this creature attacking. Because I don't think I know Lucas, but I would probably at least know Delilah from living in Pawheton.
Yes.
Try to shoot at whatever this creature is?
You can.
Do it, do it, do it.
Actually, I'll give you an advantage die just because it is now sort of pinned between two of your two other people. And
Well, I rolled the first one before you said it was a fail, but I rolled it again with an advantage. I
Excellent.
don't know which one you want to take.
No, that's good. So hard success. So you fire at this creature, and both Lucas and Delilah, you see the bullet kind of hits it, and it does kind of dig in up in its upper shoulder, but it doesn't go as deep as you would expect.
How close is Hudson to me?
He is currently about maybe 50 feet up the slope, running full speed.
She's gonna stay where she is. If he's running toward her, she's gonna wait. She feels like she helped at least Delilah a little bit. Dear God. She feels like she helped Delilah a little bit. So she is going to just wait for her dumbass husband.
Fair enough. And so Hudson, you're carrying ass down the slope. You watched over your shoulder as one of these creatures just face planted into the side of the rocks. You seem to have bought yourself a little time, and as you sort of crest the little rise and see Lucas, Delilah, and then all of a sudden you realize Reverend Pennebaker, and then you just hear the discharge of a gun and your eyes settle on Minnie up ahead.
Hi, honey.
Hudson pauses a moment. He looks at his wife, looks back over his shoulder, looks at Minnie, looks back over his shoulder, trying to decide which one is the bigger threat to him right now. And then he's just going to keep running towards Minnie. And then, how far away is the bug thing?
Behind you?
No, the one in front of me.
Oh, it's about 40 feet ahead of you.
Would I be able to close a little distance and shoot it?
Sure.
I'm gonna shoot it.
Hudson just looking for which gun to use now.
Nope.
Yep. So you fire, and the bullet kind of hits in the dirt nearby, and dirt kind of kicks up at Lucas and Delilah a little bit as everyone is shooting at this bug that you two are on top of at the moment.
Can y'all wait until we are clear of this thing before you start discharging various firearms in our direction, please?
Hey,
Well, maybe y'all should kill it first.
You should talk. I felt my life flash before my eyes with the muzzle flash. And you were point blank.
Minnie just blows the smoke off of the barrel of her gun and just continues to sit up on this horse and wait.
Well, be quick. The other one's coming.
All right.
Bug quick. Oh.
Somewhere off in the distance, getting further away, you hear a very familiar yell in fear. But it's still getting more and more distant. It's still going.
Next session, Jeremiah's just gonna come in dragging the bodies of both of them, just covered in blood. Just like...
I did what I had to do.
I smote them.
Only God can forgive me now.
This is true. All right, so somewhere out in the trees, you still hear movement as Reverend Duffy is looking around in surprise, and he says, "What is going on here? What is that?" And he points at the bug wrapped around Delilah.
Well,
Are these
you want
those
it?
creatures you were talking about, Pastor?
No, that is not what I have been talking about. I've been talking about the evil, hairy men that wander the hills.
Don't worry, they're coming too.
Yeah, introductions are definitely in order, but can we put these things down first because they're trying to kill us?
He sort of runs forward, and he has his sort of revolver out, but he has it flipped upside down. Like, so he comes up like he's going to kind of bludgeon this thing. And as he gets close, he sort of stumbles over his own 2 feet and kind of lands on top of it between Delilah and the creature. And kind of starts getting tangled up with you, Delilah, like, "Ma'am, I'm sorry." And I need you to roll me a dexterity as he is like almost knocking you free from this creature from the back of it.
I'm gonna tell the deputy on you, Reverend. I have never seen a more handsy man in my life.
So you actually, the two of you sort of get entangled as you both kind of roll off of this thing, and you're both sort of like just tangled up. So now, Lucas, you're the only one on top of it. As
Wow.
the Reverend's hat sort of goes askew and kind of flies off and away in this mess, and he loses the revolver kind of on the ground underneath the bug. Meanwhile, Lucas, what do you want to do?
I want to use the rest of the rope I have to see if I can tie the thing up more to incapacitate it to where I can't really get around so much. Maybe it'll be less dangerous.
All right, let's see.
Get its wings.
Yeah, do you want to roll me a
Failed rope
dexterity?
use.
What's that?
Oh, okay. You wanted something under the rope use?
Oh, if you want to use rope use, you can use that.
It failed, so it doesn't matter.
All right, so yeah, you're trying to wrap this thing up, and it is fighting you tooth and nail. And as you try to wrap its wings, it is again going to try to sort of launch itself out from the midst of all this insanity that it's doing. So it tries to sort of leap up and spring away. If you want to kind of pull it back down, I need another strength check.
You got it.
Wow.
And I will spend luck to make that succeed.
Well, even as you sort of try to pull it down, it has an extreme success
I
on
see
that.
that now.
So you don't have to spend the luck if you don't want to, as you realize it is going to get up and sort of bound upward into the air. And in doing so, as it starts to flap its wings, if you continue to hold the rope, you realize you're going to get pulled up into the air with it.
Yeah, I ain't let go.
All right, so you, those of you who are watching, see as Delilah and Duffy roll away, and this creature lunges upward. Lucas just goes up with it. And it only goes up about maybe 20 feet or so into the air, but it's starting to flap its wings kind of strong, trying to get away from here.
You ain't getting away that easy, you flying varmint.
Lucas.
Can I try to shoot at one of the wings?
Momentarily, yes, but currently, you all see as a second one that looks like its sort of antennae are a little askew, like maybe it slammed into something recently, comes flying up in the direction that Hudson just came from, and it flies full speed at your back, Hudson.
Shit.
It is literally just going to try to like slam in and like grab around you at this point.
Can I divert
that's
that
fun.
one by shooting it instead of the other one?
That's fine.
Or would it be happening too fast that I wouldn't notice it?
You
Either makes sense. I mean, it's fine.
yeah, currently like you're just sort of like reacting to it showing up. So it's
Perfect.
gonna get a chance to slam into him, but then you're gonna act right after that.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
Cool.
let's see here.
Cool, Minnie shut up to watch her husband die. That's fine.
It's fine.
I'll bring you back so I can kill you with my own two hands. Don't you worry.
All right, so why don't you, if you feel the beat of the wings coming in, and you hear it like the sound getting louder behind you, Hudson, as this thing slams into the back of you. You feel its like pincers come around you, and it goes to sort of close in and lift you up. If you want to resist this, you can roll a strength check.
I'll try to resist it.
You got this, law dog.
Oh yeah, strong husband.
Yep. So
Strong.
it gets its pincers around you and tries to like fly up, only then realizing how solid Hudson really is.
I was gonna say, didn't realize how beefy I am.
Yes, and it sort of is now hugging him from behind, but it can't get him off the ground. But it does move you sort of closer to the action. And Minnie, you watch as this creature is just kind of wrapped around the back of Hudson. Its big head up above him, its pincers kind of coming now around the front of him. What do you want to do?
So my revolver, I believe I can fan the hammer for 3 attacks.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to do that straight at this creature's wherever I can tell faces.
Now, I believe if you're gonna do the 3 shots, you're gonna take a penalty die.
Yeah,
on
it's
the
a
shots.
penalty.
Yep.
I believe, yeah. I rolled them all separately though, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not a weapon user, I'm a magic user. So I always forget. Okay, let me do.
Damn it.
All right.
What?
Fuck!
So
Let me see if there's anything I would spend luck on though. Hold on just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
The first one, what did I roll? A 65?
Mm-hmm.
I'll spend the 15 luck? I'll spend the 15 luck to make.
If only you
Wait, it would probably be better. Shit. It'd probably be better to spend luck on the second one, wouldn't it? And make that an extreme success. Right? Is that how that works? I don't ever get the penalty dies always throw me off.
Yeah, so if you rolled a 65 and you need at least a 50, because I think the next one you rolled was the 72.
Uh-huh.
So that's so the 65 is closer to a success than the 72.
Okay, I'll do the first one. I'll make the first one a success. I'll spend that 15 luck.
All right. So
The second one won't hit, but the other 2 will be a regular success and then an extreme.
all right. So Hudson, one bullet goes just whizzing past kind of wide. The
Okay, I get it. I screwed up. Don't shoot me.
the second
That was a warning shot, honey.
the second kind of clips the side of this thing's head, and then the third one sort of hits it right kind of in the cheek of its face, and this like hard shell that's covering it kind of protects it a little bit, but it burrows in pretty deep, and this thing actually squeals in your ear in pain as you feel sort of this like liquid kind of drip down on you, this like cold dripping. And you realize that it seems that Minnie has done some serious damage to this creature. So,
Anyone else gonna take some initiative? And like she's looking at Pennebaker and Duffy and everything that's like, or would you like the woman you brought along with you to take care of this?
We need to MVP.
Duffy tries to respond, but is busy extricating himself from the ground where Delilah and he fell, and sort of like
Was I supposed to get a turn?
You're about to, yeah. You're about to. He's trying to extricate himself from you, and he's trying to grab for his gun at the same time. Delilah, what do you want to do at this moment?
I want to flip around my knife and bash him in the temple with the back of my knife.
You're gonna hit the pastor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fire and brimstone, father.
All right.
Unarmed attack.
So why don't you roll me an attack roll versus the Reverend Duffy?
Unarmed.
Yes.
Fuck. And I only have 15 luck. God damn it.
So you swing the back of your knife sort of at him to hit him, and surprisingly quickly, his arm comes up and he catches your wrist and stops you from hitting him in the head, and he sort of looks at you and says, almost inaudibly, "That would be a bad idea, my friend."
I don't know if you know what I do for a living, father, but it's definitely not pious.
He smiles at you. You can roll me a psychology check.
Okay, cool. Although that I
guy
freaking
all alone.
When he smiles at you, it's unnerving to you. Like, this isn't like normally he's polite to you, but he's always kind of given you this sort of look of almost disappointment on a regular basis. This is more like just kind of a leering kind of side grin. It really puts you off. It changes the whole like look of his face. And Pennebaker at this point is going to take a shot at the bug that's trying to fly off with one Lucas in tow. So let's see. Pennebaker he pulls out a revolver and he points it in the direction of this bug and tries to take a shot. Ooh, and he will hit the bug. But it's the one that Lucas that you are trying to bring down still looks pretty well off. The one that is actually wrapped around Hudson it's now bleeding pretty heavily from this face wound and kind of dripping all over the back of Hudson as it's doing this. Hudson, what do you want to do?
So is this thing still screaming, like in pain?
It is kind of mewling a little bit now in pain. It's sort of it's dropped a little bit in volume, but it still is in pain.
And like how close am I to its mouth?
I mean, its mouth is kind of like right here.
Am I able to just kind of shove the barrel of my gun into his mouth and shoot?
I would say you are close enough. You can certainly do that.
I'm going to do that. I'm just gonna, because the mouth seems vulnerable from the armor, so I'm just gonna kind of.
You want to give me a roll with an advantage die?
Sure.
All right, so you turn around and you put your gun, you just sort of slam it into the open mouth as it's still kind of squealing in pain, and you fire, and its head would normally, you think, explode, but because of this strange outer covering that it has put on, it sort of explodes inside of it, and it's kind of a pussy mess.
Yeah.
And it sort of slumps on top of you, and all of its weight now kind of lands on you because its wings kind of start to go limp. Roll me a strength check.
With Minnie, I mean, Minnie's watching her husband.
Do I want to spend that luck?
I was gonna say if Jeanette says it's possible, like Minnie would have gotten off a horse, could she have had enough time to rush over to Hudson to help him?
Okay, if you want to say that you were running toward him after you sort of like you jumped off and you were firing.
She's definitely kept her eyes on like the minute she saw that one coming, Hudson, she did not care about Lucas and the other one. Sorry. So I know her attention has been on Hudson. If it makes sense for you, if it's out of the realm possibility, that's fine. But if it makes sense for you,
yeah, no, I would say if Minnie after firing like wanted to leap down and like rush toward Hudson. So what's happening is Hudson was still kind of moving forward. And as he shoots this thing in the face, its whole body weight is kind of coming down on him and about to kind of crush down on him as you kind of can get under there and get to him. So he can roll again. This will be his advantage roll. So you can roll.
Yeah, like she's not like trying to get it off him. She's trying to give him this chance to get out. You know.
Boom.
All right, so
that's true love, bitch.
Yep. So as he is like about to be kind of like slammed into the ground and buried underneath this thing, Minnie, you kind of run up and sort of slam into him, kind of get him out from under it, and the big body kind of just flops to the ground. The bug that Lucas is flying on squeals as the other one sort of falls and lands, and somewhere in the distance, off in that direction. You hear answering squeals, as if the other two
the hive mind
have realized that something happened.
Yes.
As
soon as Minnie comes over and helps, he's just going to smile, go, "Hey, babe," and kiss her.
Yeah, and when he does, she steps back. She like pulls back. She's like, "You could at least wipe your mouth off a little bit. I'm glad you're alive."
I missed you.
Well, you were out here getting into trouble, which is what you're good at. Apparently enough trouble that when people are out to get you, apparently.
That sounds about right. And then he's gonna yell out, "Shoot them in the face! It works!"
You're not sure if anybody heard you beyond the group here.
She's going to step back from Hudson and I think sort of step over the creature and try to examine it. I think Minnie knows she doesn't know anything about this, but she wants to at least see if she might be able to understand something about it.
You step back and you're kind of stepping over this thing. As you're kind of looking down to examine it, Delilah, the Reverend kind of pushes off the ground and kind of stands back up to his feet. And he has picked up his revolver. And he kind of looks over at the slumped form on the ground. And he just shakes his head. He's like, "No, that's not the monster you're supposed to be killing, darling." And he looks up and kind of to the hillside, looking around, away from even the bug that's flying with Lucas. And he takes a couple of steps toward the fallen creature, kind of shoulder to shoulder with Minnie, looking down at it, shaking his head.
Then what, pray tell, do you suggest we go and kill? Because if you're going to say this, the ape men, I might have to punch you again.
He looks back over his shoulder again at you and kind of squints his eyes. He says, "That's exactly who we should be hunting."
Well, you're full of fucking shit. Excuse my French, Reverend.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Reverend. I don't see these ape men, as you call them, being the ones that are attacking right now.
Can Delilah try her impression of a Sasquatch again? Even though that was probably a once-in-a-lifetime role.
I mean, if you want to make a performance roll to try and do a Sasquatch yell.
I only have dance as my performance.
I know.
So I will make my arts and crafts roll at 5%. I'm just trying to rile them up to maybe make them hurl rocks at the Reverend. That's my goal.
Nice.
Oh! I kind of want to spend that luck. I really want to spend that luck. I think I'm gonna spend 9 luck. Yep, it's okay. I only have 6 left. Or 4 left. Just kidding. It's fine. Still gonna do it.
All right.
My goal is to rile them up and just scaring the living bejesuses out of the Reverend.
All right. So, Minnie, from the ground nearby, Delilah lets out this just unearthly sort of howl that both startles you and Pennebaker and the other 2 of his men who have now managed to kind of crest the hill behind. They kind of come up on either side on their horses to this insanity. Just do me a favor and roll me a sanity check as you hear this unearthly perfection of a howl.
God, nothing phases Minnie. I guess she has to put up with Hudson.
I put up with Hudson.
Yeah.
It also doesn't seem to phase Pennebaker or his one of the 2 men that ride up the hill sort of is startled enough that he kind of falls from his horse and hits the ground, but otherwise doesn't seem too worse for wear from this.
She's looking back and forth from Hudson to Lucas, who she hasn't met. I'm sorry. Did she do this? I've only met Delilah a couple times. Is this normal?
Well, Lucas is about 10 feet in the air at the end of a rope.
Oh shit! I
Yeah.
thought he had come down.
Nope,
Sorry.
so-
Okay, she's looking at Hudson then, asking this.
As of late, yes, that is kind of normal.
And so while all this is going on, Lucas, and you're hanging up in the air, what do you want to do?
So am I at the end of the rope, or was I close enough to be able to reach him? Because I want to try to climb on top of it.
Oh, you could definitely try to climb up on top of him if you want to.
So I want to get on top of it and then get the rope around the front of it to kind of like choke it, so I can see if I don't want to just kill the thing outright with me on it, but I want to try to take it down again.
All right, just give me a strength roll to try to climb up and get up on top of this boy.
Damn it, Celts.
So you're pulling yourself up. You're kind of struggling a little bit with it flying and maneuvering and trying to sort of shake you free.
I'm cursing way more than Delilah too, by the way, but I'm not gonna. I won't role play that part. But
all right.
Knows.
So you all are watching as you see Lucas trying to climb up, and he's sort of right underneath it, trying to pull himself up onto its back and like fighting with it, as this creature just flies and starts flying back toward the cave area with Lucas on its back, or like hanging from the rope, kind of dangling, trying to get on its back. And it quickly is trying to put some distance between your group and itself at this point.
So is this something else that's normal?
And
he's just watching.
No, not at all.
Should we try to get him down? He looks pretty comfortable up there.
Lucas, are you good up there?
The fact that up here is in your statement at all should indicate that I am not. I'm up here.
He said, and it is like covering some, like he's about to disappear, like over that rise, and take Lucas with him. Like Shit. That's what you all see as it goes.
Can I take a shot at it?
Well, first, Minnie would be able to react first, but she's looking at this bug creature.
Yeah, Minnie is. She's been talking to Hudson, but she doesn't know how she would help Lucas unless Hudson like told her straight up, hey, shoot at this thing. So she is sort of more towing, her using her boot and towing at this creature and picking and prodding.
Yeah, as you kick and prod it, this creature is sort of you can see that whatever the shell that it had around it is kind of oozing away now, that it seems the creature itself is dead, and sort of it's softening and kind of melting away from its body. And you can tell as you kind of kicking at it that it's got this thicker hide on it, and then it's got these big kind of translucent colorful wings, and just these long kind of clawed arms. Like it's got 4 or 5 arms kind of jutting out from other places, and it's rather big. I mean, it's probably a little bit bigger than Hudson as far as height goes.
Yeah, she's squatted down and lifting up, wings and arms, and then rest her elbow on her knee and just says, "You should probably go after your friend, honey."
Yeah, I'm on it.
Delilah, what do you want to do?
So, I'm gonna give this Reverend Duffy inspired speech about how the Beelzebub, I'm gonna use Jerry's word, are coming to like a plague of locusts upon the town, and he should go and prepare the town and take everybody with him, because fuck them all. But she doesn't say that part, she thinks that part. So if you want me to persuade them or fast talk them...
So you're trying to fast talk the Reverend?
Correct.
Alright, go ahead and...
Taking the men and going home.
Go ahead and roll me that.
Can I use one luck and make it a hard success?
You can. I will say don't use luck. As you okay. Tell him that. He sort of turns and looks at you again, and he's kind of giving you this hard stare down.
She stares back.
Your feminine wiles and all of that don't really seem to have any impact on him. In fact, even now, looking at him, he doesn't seem like he's at all fazed by anything that's going on. To you, as you look into his eyes, and he actually seems somewhat annoyed by you trying to tell him to go, and he just sort of kind of cocks his head, and he says, "Oh, I've prepared the town for the end of days that is coming.
If you mean by telling bullshit stories about fire and brimstone, then sure. You prepared us.
Oh, fire and brimstone, but more so that the waters will wash away the sinners. And he smiles.
What are you gonna do?
Shit! Oh shit!
What you gonna do, Pastor, when these waters wash away every single person in Pawheton?
He looks back at you and he smiles and says, the angels will carry those that have not sinned up and take them to their next life.
Well, I'm pretty sure I just killed one of those angels.
I did try to carry my Hudson away, and I can guarantee he's all without sin, so.
Oh, he's a hard sinner.
So, Hudson, as Delilah is saying this and the Reverend is responding, what are you doing?
He's gonna chase after the one with Lucas and fire a shot at it. Try to like kind of jar it a little bit so something can happen.
Put him down!
I'm gonna try. Nope.
Yeah, so you fire, and Lucas, as you're climbing up on its back, you that gets a little close for comfort. Kind of like move aside a little bit, swing on the rope.
And Hudson's gonna keep running with it, so in case like it gets to a point where Lucas can jump off, he'll be there to try to at least cushion the fall a little bit. Instead of hitting rocks, you just hit a very firm person instead.
I want you to catch Lucas so bad now. As you're running behind it and running after Lucas, and Lucas, you're struggling to get a grip on this. Out of the tree line, a very large rock just sort of flies and slams into the side of this thing's just upper torso. And it kind of throws it off course a little bit. Lucas, roll me dexterity.
Alrighty, let's do this. I haven't failed a dex roll today, so. Oh.
You hold on as it sort of like banks away from the rock, and you see the like blood trickle through a crack now in its hide where the rock hit. And looking around from your high vantage point, you can just sort of make out the large, bigger Sasquatch kind of in the tree line. You don't see the other two Sasquatches anywhere around.
Okay.
And then, Lucas, what do you want to do?
I want to try to get on top of the thing again, so I want to try to climb up.
All right, roll some strength to pull yourself up and behind him. So this time you pull yourself up on its back. So,
and do I have another action to be able to sink? I want to, where I see the blood trickling through the cracked the carapace or whatever, I want to get my knife in there.
Okay, yep, you can, because it's kind of your movement to sort of get up on the top of the back of him, and you can try to stab him with your knife.
Did we say brawl? Was it brawl?
Yes.
Oh.
So you try to stab down into it, and it sort of like banks, and you miss, trying to just hang on and not fall off now.
Okay.
So as you're all watching, you see Lucas get up on the back of this, and he's kind of tucked between the wings that are flapping like super fast, as it's trying to sort of throw him off, and he's stabbing at it, and Hudson is just running along the ground underneath it, and they're about to kind of both disappear over the rise, heading back in the direction that Hudson had come from.
Yeah, Minnie looks up at Delilah. Well, this is going great, isn't it?
I'm trying real hard to not murder this man.
Pennebaker and his two associates actually charge off after this scene that is happening, sort of running behind. Pennebaker is going to take a shot.
Minnie's in the background just going, "Thank you, Mr. Pennebaker. We appreciate it."
He misses
He-
because you distracted him.
He gets distracted and he does in fact miss. Meanwhile, his compatriots...
Oh, that's better.
Yes, one of them will hit, and this
What's the other one's shoot score? Good goodness.
Not very good. No. The other one is more the tracker. It's Corby there. So there's like 2 of them that are really good at shooting, one of them that is not. But anyway, meanwhile, let's see. So Delilah,
Yes.
you watch as Lucas is disappearing. Pennebaker and his associates are running. Hudson is running underneath, kind of keeping himself as close as he can beneath this thing.
I have this image in my mind.
Hudson's running like his arms up, like he's waiting to catch him.
What are you doing right now, Delilah?
Somebody better talk her out of murdering him. I got
Bold of you to think anybody would.
I got a nice nat 20 that might have the Reverend's name on it. I'm really, really tempted.
Shoot him in the face.
I
With
think.
that
How
20.
tall is this man? Just so I have a height reference.
The Reverend is maybe just about 6 feet tall. He's not like super built, but he's not like skinny. He's kind of like sturdy.
Okay, so she can't reach his face. She's gonna drop. You're gonna hear her Bowie knife clang to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to draw her pistol,
Mm-hmm.
put it against his stomach, and I'm gonna use my nat 20 to put him down.
All right. So what is your damage with your pistol?
It's 1d10 plus 2.
So 12 points of damage. All right. So
And I would imagine in this day and age, a stomach shot is pretty much fatal.
all right. So
Well, eventually it'll be fatal.
Well, yeah.
so Minnie, you watch as Delilah puts her gun to the stomach of the Reverend and pulls the trigger, and he like doubles over, grabbing the wound and sort of stumbling backward, and kind of falls and sort of tumbles away from you both about maybe 7 or 8 feet, landing in a heap on the ground.
Yeah, Minnie stands there for a moment, sort of shell-shocked, and her eyes get wide. Just, what? Delilah, I don't think that was necessary.
I'm trying to prove a point. Pennebaker and his men should get the fuck out of here.
I don't think...
You don't know half the shit that has been going on out here. I don't care what Hudson told you. You don't know shit about what's going on out here. And if he's threatening to drown my town, he just got what he deserved.
Yeah, now you have no more answers. She's gonna walk over to the Reverend and kneel down and like try to take his pulse, see if he's alive or anything.
Okay, so Minnie, you move to the Reverend and you bend down and sort of like turn him over to take his wrist and take his pulse. And you see the wound where his hands had gone over the wound. And it's this black liquid is leaking from the wound. And as you notice this, you like the form of the Reverend starts to sort of
He's one of
bubble.
the bug people.
It starts to
No, he's
bubble
one of the zombies.
and bubble and starts to thicken up, and it has this sort of like the black ichor kind of starts to thicken as the form of the Reverend himself starts to kind of go away, and it seems to be taking on a different form. Why don't you roll me a sanity check?
Yeah, sure.
Oh shit. This wasn't even his final form.
Oh, I almost fumbled that one.
Oh,
All right, so.
Oh, she isn't the unshakable Minnie Devereaux.
Well, I've never seen a creature like this before.
This is true. So you. Oh, jeez.
Told you didn't know shit about what was going on out here. This wasn't even the reference final form. That's how he was
Apparently
so
not.
quick to stop her. It all makes sense now.
All right, so just a second.
I feel like my characters. This is an edition of Resident Evil.
I mean, maybe. Just want to make sure I've got the right stat for this.
I'm so sometimes being a chaos fairy it becomes suddenly unfun.
No, it's all good.
I mean, it's better we find out now what his final form is than some other time.
Like when he's trying to blow up the dam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it might turn into all of our final forms. Because that just feels Resident Evil-esque to me.
It's true. Sorry, just 1 second. There it is. I gotta use the right one, because the other one's real scary.
Oh, don't tell me that.
I mean, they're really scary anyway, but...
So there's more than one version of this thing could have turned into?
I mean, maybe.
Is that too bad?
Guys, we're out of green and red herbs. What are we gonna do?
Panic? Panic is always an option.
Run!
Alright, so let's see.
We can't even save the game. There's no typewriters, and even if we did, we don't have any typewriter cartridges.
That's true.
This is hard mode.
Ah. So, you did a fail. There he is. Failed the check. That is going to be a... Aha, D10 of sanity loss.
Roll a one. Roll a one.
How about 10?
How about... No.
Hey, so, Minnie, why don't you roll me an intelligence roll? Oh, good.
Oh my god. This is when the it starts failing.
So this might be Minnie's only session with us because she dies. It's fine.
I mean, hopefully not.
No.
We got this.
I might have a big problem if I have to take Minnie and the Reverend on.
You might. That is true.
I
All
didn't
right.
think this.
So,
You didn't think this through, did you?
so Delilah, as
Nope.
you're like, kind of like saying to Minnie about that you're not going to take this and Pennebaker and his men should leave, Minnie had gone to check on Reverend Duffy. And she is now, like, she screams and is backpedaling away from Reverend Duffy on all fours, like, just back, you know, like crab walk back and away from him at this point.
If you'll allow me to flavor it, Jeanette,
Yes.
like, within these, like, this moment of, like, hyperventilating, panic attack, screaming, she's calling out for Hudson. She's looking very frantically around for her husband. I think she even tries to reach for her gun, and she just can't. Her hands are shaking so bad she can't do anything. And like you said, she's like, you know, clambering away backwards on her elbows, trying to put as much distance between her and this creature as she can.
All right. So, as she is doing that, let's see. Hudson, you are running, and you have only just sort of gone out of sight of where you left Minnie when you hear her screaming.
He immediately turns around and starts running back. Sorry, Lucas. You got this.
I got this.
And he's gonna start running towards her, and I don't know what he can see.
So as you come back over the slope, you see Delilah. Probably Delilah. What's your reaction to you haven't really seen because his back is still to you, so you aren't seeing what's happening with Duffy, but you're seeing Minnie's reaction to what's happening to Duffy.
I mean, so I can only assume, okay, so he dropped, right, from the gunshot?
He did, and he rolled away, so he's on the ground, his back is sort of to you.
And Minnie told me that might not have been necessary because now we don't have any answers. And then I hear screaming. Can I shoot him again?
You can shoot at him. He's lying on the ground. Sure, go ahead, shoot him. Well, actually, Hudson's coming back. So you're lining up to shoot him. So Hudson, you're you would react before Delilah would because she just shot him. So you see Delilah, like, her gun in hand, and she's now starting to point it down toward the prone form of Duffy. And Minnie is on the ground, backing away from him on her hands, like, kind of pulling herself away.
What am I seeing with him? Do I just see, like, his back, or do I see any of that?
You just see his back lying there. You can't see what's actually happening yet.
I mean, I think Hudson would pull out and shoot at it, because I think he can put together seeing Minnie backing away from it that something's going on. And he's got to defend his wife.
All right, so you want to take a shot at it?
Yes.
Go for it.
Boom.
Ooh.
Now I have a question. If it makes it an extreme, does that do anything?
An extreme is like maximum damage, but hang on, let me double check something. Yeah, don't spend it to make it an extreme.
Okay.
So
He's invincible, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's
not
basically
invincible,
what
but ouch. All right, so you shoot this prone form in the back, and you see it convulse a little bit as you do that, and then.
And I'm assuming Delilah sees this also, right?
You do, but you're still like kind of reacting to everything that's happening.
That's fine. No, I was just trying to have a clear picture of the chaos I caused. That's all.
I mean, yeah, why not? And you do in fact get a clearer picture as the second shot hits the form of the prone reverend. These tendrils burst out of its back. These black inky tendrils. Just enormous writhing masses of ropey tentacles kind of burst from its back as it starts to bulge, and kind of it has this sort of stumpy fat bottom as it rises up out of it. So both Delilah and Hudson can roll sanity checks as this is happening.
And these are the things we can't use luck for, correct?
Yes, that is true.
Okay. Just wanted to double check.
Well, that's a hard success. So suck
right.
it, Reverend. Oh shit! I am so fucked.
All right. So, for Delilah, who rolled
At this point, Lucas sees this happening and is like, well, I'm going to continue to fly away.
Yep. All right. So, Delilah, you will lose 3 points of sanity.
Even though I succeeded.
Even though you succeeded.
Motherfucker. Okay.
So,
Look,
you
tentacles just don't work for the Devereaux.
Yeah. So you involuntarily just sort of stumble backward away as well, as you sort of catch your breath a little bit in shock. Meanwhile, Hudson, let's see, D10. You also lose 3 points of sanity, as you two are startled and probably let out like just a yell of shock, as you maybe even like sort of slide to a stop, nearly losing your footing on the slope. And as this thing bursts free, let's see what it is gonna do.
We all thought the bug people were gonna kill us. We
I know,
didn't know
right?
that the fucking tentacle monster was here.
I mean, I should have imagined some other cryptid being involved somehow.
Wait a second, is this Venom?
Dylan's just watching his movie, chilling out, not worrying about a thing.
Does the Reverend bear resemblance to Tom Hardy in this instance?
Oh Lord, no! It actually looks like
as these black tentacles come out of him.
It actually has. It looks like this creepy, almost like this creepy tree with a thick trunk and these like sort of like the branches are the tentacles.
What? Good God.
All right, so this thing bursts free from and the form of the Reverend sort of like melts away with as this thing bursts forth, and it lumbers forward on what the trunk appears to have like these like strange like clunky hooves in the bottom, and it sort of charges forward. As it does, it literally is gonna run right over Minnie.
Bye, babe. I love you.
All right, so, and as it does this, it is hooting and bellowing and rearing up with the tentacles flying madly in the air.
Minnie's gonna come back and haunt me forever.
So it will try to trample over the form of Minnie, and it's going to, let's see.
That's my wife.
I know.
That was your wife.
So let's see. As Minnie is prone, it's gonna get an advantage roll because
Oh, great.
she's on the ground. Oh, but Minnie, you managed to not get trampled as it sort of mows into the center of where you all are, and the tentacles are whipping around madly. So then, let's see, Lucas, you're flying off on the bug. You can see below you, Hudson, you heard the scream, and Hudson turned and ran back. But Pennebaker and his two associates seem to be like trying to follow, and they look like they're going to take more pot shots at the bug.
So I'm going to try something a little different. I want to like get a good hold on the rope that's still tied around the thing, and then use my feet and like just push down on the back of its head as much as I can to get it to like kind of dive bomb. I want to try to get it to hit the ground.
Okay. So why don't you, how do you want to do this? Just so you want to like use your strength to sort of force it down?
Yeah.
All right. So why don't we make opposed strength rolls here?
Come on, Lucas.
Oh.
Fuck.
Your strength is...
Oh.
All right.
It's a top.
Yeah. So you're trying to force it down. It's trying to fight this. So now it's sort of doing a spiral now, as it's trying to like control its flight, and you're shoving down on its head. Do you want to do anything else?
We're in a spiral now.
Yes.
Are we heading towards the ground at all? Or just like a leveled out spiral?
It's a little hard to tell because it's a little nauseating. Why don't you just roll me a spot check just to see if you can get a sense of which way the trajectory is of this bug. Yeah, you're not sure 100%. Like you see the ground, but then you see the sky, and then you see the ground. It's happening pretty quickly.
How far off the ground am I?
At this point, you're probably about 40 feet up.
40? Oh yeah, never mind. I'm hanging on for dear life. Just kind of like wrap my arms now around the thing's neck and just hold on.
All right, and it sort of tries to regain control, but it's struggling as you hear a gunshot somewhere off behind you. Pennebaker will miss, but his friend. Oops, that's the wrong button. What's that doing? Oh, there it goes. All right, so one shot does hit, and this thing does seem to start to lose a little bit of its altitude, and it seems to squeal a little more in pain at this point.
Okay.
You can kind of make out, it looks like it's making for that cave entrance at the far side. And so Delilah, and actually Minnie, you're backpedaling away as this giant tree creature almost trampled you. What do you want to? What's going on here?
Can Delilah go first? Can I give my turn to Delilah first? I'm looking up something.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Just give me. Sorry.
No worries. So Delilah, What do you want to do as the Reverend seems to have turned into this strange tentacled creature?
Let's try that unmuted this time. You described it as a tree.
It looks like this stocky, like the lower portion looked like a stocky sort of tree trunk until it moved, and then you see it sort of has 4 stocky legs, and it kind of comes up in this bulbous center with all of these tentacles sticking out the top. And there's at least 10 to 12 tentacles flailing about above its head.
Is there anything nearby that is flammable?
I mean, there are trees and things like
Better
that
yet,
nearby.
screw it. I don't need to do that. She's gonna take a... Oh, she dropped her knife. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I was gonna say, I'm just gonna cut part of my own clothes and light it on fire and throw it at it. Because I'm gonna assume I have a lighter because I bought that. I don't have any dynamite. Just running through all of my options, which are fairly few right now. I'm kind of afraid to shoot it in case more tentacles come out of it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think there, Delilah?
She's gonna untuck her shirt because
Mhm.
she, like Minnie, is wearing men's clothes. She's gonna just attempt to rip a piece of her clothing.
Okay.
And if you need me to roll, I will roll. If she can just do it, she's gonna rip a piece of her clothing. She's gonna flip out her lighter and throw it.
And what you're trying to just light it on?
Yeah, so she wants to like ball it up, light it on fire, and throw it and hope it lights the woody, stocky thingy on fire.
All right,
Tentacle monster on fire.
so go ahead and roll to throw that burning fabric at this creature. All right, so you throw it in its direction, and one of the tentacles swats it out of the air, and it goes sort of spiraling off and lands in some brush
Shit.
off to the side, and kind of starts. You hear some crackling off to the side over there.
Don't burn down the fur. Smokey says no.
So, Minnie, you watch as Delilah tries to throw this burning material at the creature.
So, full disclosure, when I made Minnie
Yes, ma'am.
for this game, I went balls to the wall,
Mm.
and that's what I was looking up because I have Minnie is going to meet eyes with her husband and just say very very calmly, "I love you, honey." And
Don't you
I'm
do
going
it, Katie.
to take out the hand grenade that I have, which I guess could be flavored as dynamite in this
Yep.
Era.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm going to, I guess, light it and throw it at this creature.
Holy hand grenade.
And I mean, I even think she would just crawl toward it to get, because it's only 3 yards. She would get as close as she could to make sure that this thing goes off.
Oh my goodness. All right, so you are going to. I have my dynamite.
Pull a Delilah. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep. So
This whole time, Hudson's been so scared of dying because of what Minnie was going to do to him, and then Minnie's just going to pull something like this.
apparently,
Well, she had a hand grenade. Of course he's afraid.
Do we
she's
have
gonna
time
kill
for
him.
some couples counseling before this goes down real quick? Sorry.
Did we throw a Ouija board?
so yeah, if you
I think she's going to light it and charge him and not count on throwing it. Yeah.
okay.
You can get closer and light it and run away.
All right, so Minnie,
Oh, no.
describe this for me there, Katie.
Yeah, she looks up at Hudson, and I don't know if Hudson can hear her with all that's happening, but I mean, she definitely says it clear enough he could read her lips as she says, "I love you, honey. Run." And yeah, she's going to clamber to her feet, and as she's running toward this creature, light this stick of dynamite and take it down with her.
All right. So Minnie runs forward at this creature, and as you're not throwing it, there is no range for a miss. The stick of dynamite is going to explode if you hold on to it. The creature, it it attempts to sort of knock you off your feet to hopefully like throw it aside. So you can just make a dex roll if you want for me.
Yeah, for sure.
I swear to God, if you fail this,
Yeah, but I'm going to use my luck.
that's just saying you have 96 luck.
Oh, thank God.
81 luck left, so...
All right, so it tries to sort of throw you off and send you aside. It manages to trip you, but in doing so, you sort of skitter to a stop near it. And you're still holding the stick of dynamite as the creature sort of looms over you, and it has no face to sort of have an expression. And then there is an explosion of the stick of dynamite in Minnie's hand.
I think before it happens, she just says, "I'll meet you in hell one day, Pastor."
Roll 4d10 for me, please.
Yeah.
Roll low. Or don't. I don't know how to feel about this.
Oh.
That wasn't particularly low.
Delilah, make me a dexterity roll because you are very close by. Oh no!
That's what you get.
Yeah.
That's karma.
I have 4 luck. It's fine. I'm down to 26 is enough to take me out if I'm taking all of it.
Let's see. Hang on. So you will. Oops, that's the wrong number.
Can I just be like thrown way back?
Yeah. So you're blasted back. How many HP does Delilah have?
21. That's still over half of
no,
it.
so you're gonna take 12 from it. Like you if you had made the roll, you would have gotten away, but you didn't make it, so you'll take half. You're taking half the dice, so you'll take 12.
Cool. I'm pretty sure that's a major wound, isn't it?
Yes.
That was more than half of my HP
Yes.
in one go.
So roll me a Constitution roll to see if it knocks you out.
Can I just say for flavor reasons that it does?
If you want to, yes.
Oh, I don't know if I really want that. Well, it doesn't matter. I don't have 8 luck anymore.
And Minnie, how many hit points did you have?
A big old 13.
Oh, wow. Let's see.
She gone.
So, yeah, after the smoke starts to clear a little bit, Hudson, you see this creature is still sort of looming over where Minnie is kind of lying on the ground, like turned over, scorched, not moving.
The thing is still standing, like it hasn't fallen?
It was sort of blown back, but it isn't down. But it looks like it got severely scorched by this.
I think Hudson is just going to pull out one of his guns and just unload it as much as he can while just screaming.
All right, so you
can do like the 3 shots.
All right, you will have a disadvantage die on your shots, but you can do that.
Okay, let me get to that.
Get up.
Okay,
That
one
was.
hits. Nope.
That's a fumble.
And a nope.
Yeah. So as you're doing this, let's see.
I mean, at least the one that you hit with had the highest damage.
It's true.
That's true. I think technically on the second one, my gun just malfunctions anyway.
It does. So the last shot, you're just screaming, and the gun is not, like, it kind of backfires. But you don't even notice the pain in your hand as it goes off. And this creature is, let's see here. How much damage does it take from that dynamite? 26.
26, and then I did 10 with my first shot.
All right. It turns and it bolts in the other direction away.
Let
At
it
this
go.
point.
Also, I feel like Hudson's gonna have to make his sanity roll, probably with a penalty die for seeing his wife just die.
Sure,
in
go
front
for
of
it.
him. Just to be in all honesty with this. And I still pass it. What the fuck?
It's the adrenaline that is keeping you going.
It hasn't sunk in yet.
So meanwhile,
Oh yeah, Lucas.
yeah, Lucas. So you are on top of this bug. You are in a sort of spiral. It seems to be losing some altitude. From behind you, there is a explosion, and
Oh shoot.
just insanity. Yes, Delilah.
What did I roll on my dexterity roll? Because I only need 3 luck to actually make that a success. My dexterity is 65.
Your dexterity was you fumbled that.
Oh, I fumbled that. Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Dang it. Oh, that's
Yeah.
my constitution.
You were
roll.
looking at your con, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, never
So-
mind. I just wanted. I'm really tired. I'm sorry.
No, that's
My-
okay. So Lucas, yeah, there is an explosion behind you. You recognize the explosion of dynamite, as Delilah has become very fond of setting off dynamite.
Yep, totally Delilah this time.
So, having exhausted my firearms, my knife, my physical self, my body, and I'm not pulling this thing off trajectory. How far off the ground am I at this point now? You said I'm losing some.
You were
altitude?
losing, so you're down now to about 30 feet off the ground.
I'm going to hold on to the end of the rope as with my everything in my being to hold on to the rope, and I'm just going to let go of the thing and free fall off of it,
Okay.
hoping that once I reach the end of my rope with my body weight, it's going to be enough where I can pull the thing down, also while not just smashing me into the ground.
All right. So, I want you to first roll me a dexterity roll for the maneuver of hanging on and swinging with the rope and seeing if you successfully get to the ground with it.
I'll spend luck.
All right. So you roll away. You almost lose your grip, but you manage to wrap your arm in it as you go down. And as you come almost to the ground, you get the rope taut enough to slow your fall, and then roll me a strength roll to kind of pull on this rope as you with all your weight. Actually, well, it's a success, but roll it again because with doing that, I'll give you advantage.
Come on, 1.
All right. So you and you manage to pull, and as this thing's already coming down, it sort of hastens its fall, and it kind of flies down and spirals and hits the dirt, and just spews sand and dirt up into the air.
Okay.
And you kind of tumble along on the ground and kind of catch up, but you don't take any damage from the fall. You sort of
Okay.
tuck and roll, but you have brought it down. And I think at that point, as it sort of crash lands, let's see, and it kind of rolls and sort of comes up to a stop and stops moving. Pennebaker and his associates sort of catch up to you at full run where you are on the ground. And I think we will call it for tonight and come back next time as we cut back for a moment to the unconscious form of Delilah lying on the ground, slightly burned from the explosion, some debris on her. And Hudson, what are you doing as you're running up and this creature has run toward the tree line?
Like, is it like gone?
It has disappeared into the trees. It looks like it shot for cover as quick as it can. You can attempt to look for it if you want to.
And honestly, Hudson probably just falls to his knees, kind of puts his face in his hands and just starts screaming. Just like that primal scream type of deal.
Like right from your chest.
Yeah. Because, his wife is dead.
And with that, I think we will fade to black. Somewhere in the distance, you still hear Jeremiah
Jerry.
yelling.
Oh!
So, oh, Minnie, no.
So many firsts in this episode. Our first Katie,
Our
our first
first
Minnie,
death.
and then our first death, all because of Katie.
To be fair,
You almost
it was
took two
planned
people
from
out.
the beginning.
You almost took two people out there. If Jeanette would
One
have...
could argue that you almost took 2 people out.
Well, okay. You didn't have...
I mean,
not thinking it through.
to be fair,
To be fair,
But
you
also,
didn't have
I
to-
had been planning with Jeanette to die from the beginning, so
She wanted to. We were gonna
I was
see
gonna
how that
do it
went.
Somehow.
you
And,
almost took 2 of them.
Lila gave me that perfect opportunity.
You're
I was
welcome
like,
for being a
if I go
cat.
check on his body, something will. I'll get speared by a tentacle or something. Like something will happen.
Oh
For being a chaos fairy.
yes, Minnie. And Hudson. I'm sorry.
I fridged myself for his man pain.
All right. So on that note, why don't we do? If anybody has any plugs, why don't we start? We'll start with Celts.
No, I don't think I have anything to plug, but thank you for having me on here. This was a fun session, very much so. And it was a pleasure to finally play with Katie. Sorry, Lucas didn't meet Katie. But Lucas was elevated to new levels elsewhere, so. But yeah, no, this was a super cool episode.
Don't
Thank you so
stop
much.
me
Yeah.
How about Brooke?
Hi, I'm still in shock from almost also dying. If I would have taken all of that damage, I would have been dead. As well, which I guess would be kind of fitting. I can't lie. I do a lot of things on the internet. I'm in 4 shows, including this one. On Monday mornings that we have this, at noon Central Time, so 1 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm in a Hunter the Vigil game, where my character is totally the bait for the bad guy. They literally, I'm going to spoil it, but they literally ran into the bad guy, boom, ran into him. I'm also, and that's basically the best place would be just follow me on Twitter. But I'm also in a D&D 5e game where I play a barbarian, which it's kind of interesting to try to juggle spell casting and raging all over the place. And we were fighting underwater, so my movement was it was nasty. Basically it was just nasty. And then I run on the opposite Mondays in the same time slot, a Ravnica D&D 5e game where they're not in the guild. It's a lot of fun. Come watch. That's on my personal Twitch channel.
Nice. All right, and how about Jamie?
you can find me on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on PowerScore RPG playing Dungeon of the Mage, where 3 of us are trapped in pits and our little kobold is running away from a skull that is shooting lightning out of its base. And then other than that,
sounds like a game with you guys. Yep. That checks out.
And then otherwise you can find me on here in 2 weeks where we get to see what happens when Hudson breaks.
You guys are still in pits?
Yeah, we haven't played in a
we
couple
haven't been able to play the past couple weeks.
Okay.
So we're still stuck in there because we just haven't been able to play.
That was going to be awesome if that wasn't the case, but yeah. No,
2 straight sessions. We're still trying to get out of the pits.
I think I would go so far as to say that would be the pits.
It is. And how about Katie, our wonderful guest who is now on their way to heaven, or who knows?
Thank you so much for having me, Jeanette.
I've
planned the death from the beginning, so
you're kind of a jerk. Take back all those nice things I said about how excited I was to play with you.
No, I had so much fun. This was a great game. Mondays on my channel. You can find me everywhere: Twitch, Twitter, at KatieFace. Mondays on my channel at 2 Central Standard Time. I have an inspectors campaign. We had our first session today. It's up on YouTube. It was so fun. It's a fun game I've never played before. I'm really excited. And starting next week at 6 Central Standard Time, we will be bringing Monster of the Week to my channel. I'm very excited to play the Para-Romantic, which is a playbook that was made just for me because it's all about smooching and romancing monsters, and perfect for me. Tuesdays we'll be back next week with season 2 of our Masks campaign. All this week starting tomorrow I'll be running reruns on my channel, so you can catch up if you want to. We left on a very fun note in the first season. I'm very excited to get back to that. Wednesdays you can find me on Other Doc's channel playing Tremulous, and then jumping right over to Capricorn Cross's channel to play some D&D 5e. And then Saturdays I am on Wonder and DM playing some more Wild West Call of Cthulhu, where I play a totally different character. She is a hypnotist / occultist. It's very fun. It's fun to get into that mindset. And also coming next month, signups will be going out in a couple of weeks. I'm very loosey-goosey on scheduling, which means I don't stay on anyone to do it. But I will be running over June and July, maybe into August, something called a Summer of Spooks. There's going to be tons of one-shots and shorter campaigns full of games that skew toward horror, like games like Bluebeard's Bride, Dread. We're going to have a scary D&D one-shot, that kind of thing. And we'll be doing those on Wednesdays and Saturday evenings. And when signups go live, they'll be on my Twitter. I encourage everyone to sign up. Everyone is welcome. If you streamed or not streamed before, it doesn't matter. And it's all about playing, fun horror games in safe environments with people you trust, and, people who will take care of you, because horror is my favorite genre, and it's very hard, to really push things if you're not in a safe environment. And that's something that, everyone knows I am a fervent user of safety tools. So yeah, when those signups go out, I encourage you to sign up and come play some spooky fun games with us. I'm very excited about that happening.
Awesome.
Can I shout out one other thing? Sorry.
Sure.
I'm going to Gen Con and I'm running Nerdburger Craig's games while I'm there as a way to pay. Well, pretty much I jumped on the opportunity because I get my hotel and my ticket for free by running games for him. I will tweet what games I'm running if you're going to be there and you want to come game with me.
Cool. Excellent. And I guess me. So first of all, yes, Katie talked about wanting to die. I did not know that Minnie would blow up. I wasn't sure how Minnie would exit this session. There were a lot of options. I didn't, depending on what happened. All told, that was one way to go. Rest in peace, Minnie.
Rest in pieces.
But and I'm Jeanette. What do I have? I'm doing Dungeon of the Mage with Jamie on Saturdays, 3 o'clock on Power Score RPG. On Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern on Dammit Barry's Twitch. I'm playing in a Horde of the Dragon Queen campaign as a tiefling cleric who's called Sorrow, but is always positive. I don't know, that's how she rolls. And every other Sunday, so this coming Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on my channel, I'm running a Skull and Shackles campaign for D&D 5e. And otherwise, you can catch us back here in 2 weeks to see what happens next. And we will miss Katie, and Jeremiah's going to be sad that he didn't get to meet Minnie.
Dylan's going to be even more angry that he missed me being on my absolute bullshit.
Yes, he will. Absolutely. But, I had a good time. I'm glad you could make it, Katie. I'm glad the rest of you could be here because I enjoy playing I look forward to this Monday. And
Yeah.
Me too, except for this, whole someone offing themselves thing.
I'm just glad you guys let me come and be at my worst behavior. I appreciate it.
I love your behaviors. It's great. We want you to come back more often.
It was done quite tastefully. I approve.
Agreed.
I won't hold hard feelings. It's okay. I'll get over it.
But other than that, we are going to say goodnight. I hope everybody has a good week and take care. And we'll be back for more craziness, and check us all out online because everybody's doing amazing stuff. Have a good one. Take care. Bye.